Today we will be covering everybody's favorite topic, backup iron sights. I know it's not really everybody's favorite, but we're going to cover it anyway because I think backup irons are a crucial part of a solid rifle setup. So for me personally, I want backup iron sights to be low profile, cheap, and effective. So after using many different options out there on the market, I think these MBUS 3, the Magpul backup iron sight, the third version, is the best version I have used so far. I have long used the regular just Magpul MBUS backup sights that probably everybody has a set of these, and these have been really solid for me also. But the new version is just a little bit slimmer, a little bit more out of the way, and just a tad bit lighter, which, you know, the weight of these is nothing to begin with. But I think this is the perfect version. So like I said, one of the things that I look for is a backup sight that is low profile, out of the way, does not get snagged, and as you can see, these fit that just perfectly. They're very streamlined. They do not stick over the rail any, except for just the little tiny portion of the screw where you mount it. And that's just important for, you know, not getting snagged or caught on anything. You know, like a front sight, fixed front sight post AR, you know, that's a lot of real estate that can get snagged, caught, something like that. I mean, it's not likely, but it is an option when it's there. But these, you know, when they're stowed as they are, you can hardly notice them. Now when they're deployed, that's a different subject, but if they're deployed, you know, you don't care about getting them snagged because you actually need them. And even when they are deployed, they're still pretty low profile. Let's talk about why you would want to run backup iron sights. With modern day optics, they are very reliable and rarely ever fail, but it's just kind of like having a spare tire, you know, on your vehicle. You don't expect it to have to use it, but if you do need it, you're glad it's there. Same way with these backup iron sights. If your EOTech were to either die, get cracked, you know, for some reason become inoperable, you know, it's a good thing to have these backup sights. You can just flip up instantaneously and still have a good sight picture. You know, going back to the old school, you know, front post and a rear circle, lining them up, it's very effective still. And having that precision as a backup option is really nice. Besides just the appearance improvements of the MBUS 3 sights, they actually have a pretty cool feature that I like the most compared to the older version of the MBUS sights, is this front post is very narrow, like very thin. And I like that because at distance you can get a very precise aiming point. With the old Magpul backup sights, the front sight post is pretty thick. It's probably twice as thick as the new MBUS backup sight, front sight. And you know, if you present out to 100 yards, that front sight post is going to be covering most of the 100-yard. Like in this case, on my range, I have a silhouette target. At 100 yards, the silhouette is completely covered by the front sight post. And you know, if you get any further out past that, completely covered, and not impossible, but it's more difficult to get an accurate shot. But with the new updated version, the front sight post, while being very thin, it is still easy enough to see at distance. It has a nice contrasting, front sight post, and it is, like I said, half the width of the old version, but it's still easily usable. So when I'm looking out at 100 yards on this range, the front sight post covers just the center portion of the torso, which gives me a much more precise aiming point. I really like that on this updated version. Another good improvement that I like on this one is how you actuate the night mode and the daytime mode. Well, on the rear sight, you just flip this little aperture around. On the old school version, it has a little tab that you have to try to find and remember which way it goes, and then flip it down. And when you stow your sight, if it's still in the daytime or in the nighttime mode, the little daytime aperture is sticking up and could potentially get snagged on something. So I think that is a very good improvement on the version 3. So when I'm looking for backup iron sights, I want the cheapest sight possible that's still high quality. There's metal versions of backup sights, you know, like Troy Industries and various different manufacturers, but they're well over like $100 a piece, some of them. And I see that as just pointless spending for a backup sight. I would much rather take the savings that I get with these and just buy more ammo and shoot more. So these I got on sale on Black Friday. I think the pair, the front and the rear together, was like $56, which is a really good deal, you know, compared to the $200 that you would have to spend total for some manufacturers. And you know, it's not a big weight savings, but going from these polymer backup sights to a metal set, just a little bit extra weight, it's not the big deal at the end of the day. But I like the lightest, low profile, cheapest option possible. And I think I have found that with these Magpul MBUS 3. So going forward, I will probably have these on any new build that I'm making, because I think they're that good. The improvements are definitely improvements. You know, some things from iteration to iteration, there's not much improvement, nothing really changed. But I can say that there are some really good upgrades on this version. The one downside that I think, comparing the new one to the old one, is when you go to actuate the front sight and the rear sight also, your only option is the button on top right here. With the old version, you have the button on top and you have the little lever on the side right here. Now, when I'm shooting with my grip right here, I find if I have to deploy these, I find it easier to hit the little side tab and just actuate them that way instead of coming up and hitting the button like that. I think it's just seamless, just easy. And same with the rear, just hit that side button. But at the end of the day, how often do I use these? The answer has been I've never used them. Like, I've been shooting, my optic fails and I have to deploy them. So that's just a little nitpicking that I'm doing. But with these, they're still super easy to actuate. Just click of a button. So, but that's the only real difference, negative, that I've noticed from the new set to the old set. So, like I said, this is not the most exciting content in the world, but I think it's something important that everybody needs to have a good solid set of backup irons on their rifles, just for that worst case scenario. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Drop a comment if you have anything to add. Drop us a like and hit that subscribe button if you will. We'll see you next time.